States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Cody, would you do a roll call of the board, please?
Supervisor Milkey,
I am here.
Treasurer Rice,
Here.
Trustee Bills,
Here.
Trustee Brown,
Here.
Trustee Houck,
Here.
Trustee Thering,
Here.
Clerk Cody here.
Thank you. We have an agenda in front of us, and though it's not an extremely large one, it's one of our more important ones of the year. Getting down to the wire on finalizing budgets, so be happy to entertain any motions regarding the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Cody, support by Bills. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agenda passes unanimously. That brings us to presentations. I do see we have Commissioner Engler here in the audience tonight, newly elected in the new district too.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Even though I'm not officially your representative yet, but January, I thought I'd get a little head start on it. I've already talked to you guys a couple times, so basically I'm just going to be here. I know Trustee Bills does a good job of covering our meetings. So between the two of us, I'm sure you'll be well informed what's going on. I'll make a few comments as far as what's going on that's important, and I'll take questions. And besides that, I will sit down and not take too much of your meeting. I'm getting some new cards up, so my phone number and everything is on the website. And whenever, if you want me to show up for a meeting or an event, I usually can do it. I'll probably try to make one of your meetings at least once a month. So to do that, so I know you have two of them, so I don't have quite as much distance to travel, and I'm not dodging deer as much, even though there's a lot of deer between my house and here, so that does happen. So just real quick, a couple things I want to bring up is the county just recently approved a $355,000 update for the 911 emergency CAD system. It's about a 20-year-old program. What this will do is it will basically put everybody on the same page within the county. The sheriff's office, Central, State Police, the prosecutor's office, so they'll all be able to share information, speed the process up. I know the tribe is talking on getting aboard, so they'll probably come on board too, so that's a big deal. Also within that system upgrade is a lot of times on the 5 years ago we had trouble getting receptions with the radios on the west side of the county. Now east side we're having trouble. In the big box stores, in the casino, the radios would not work, so we are getting systems that'll be able to penetrate those walls, and so the radios will work. A lot of times they had to use their own cell phones, which is not a good system if they had to go into like a Myers or the casino or something, because they could not, the radios would not work. So we'll be updating that system. Real quick reminder, this is the Christmas season and talking about 911, but I also want to bring up that for some people that's a mental health crisis, so don't forget 988, which is the update for people in crisis mode. Quick update on something. I'm on the Material Recovery Board. The main report is coming in February, but I've had a preliminary. Some good news on that, some bad news on that. And this is just my opinion. The county can go two ways on the recycling center. One, we can continue to do what we're doing, and probably in about 5 or 6 years we'll have to shut it down, just because it's the facility. It's just, we cannot operate at a loss. We're losing it. The other way is go to a single stream, which reduces a lot of labor because you just put all your recyclables in one container, and automation will take care of the rest of it. Isabella County probably does not have enough material to do it to go to a single stream, but if we go regional, there's probably enough to do it. The other Traverse City is the nearest one besides Lansing, so a lot of the waste haulers are a little bit excited about it. The initial plan says that the property and the building that we have can be utilized, so they'll have to be added on for tipping site, so that's good news, because one of the fears was that the property was gonna be too small and we wouldn't be able to use it, so. Some of the bad news is if we even went forward today, you could not get the equipment for at least 2 years, so that's how far the backload is, but we're way far from that, so we have not gotten into the finances, so. Right now, I'm looking forward to go to a single stream. I think it would serve the county well. And I think it's feasible. We haven't really got into the numbers, but the good news is that, we won't have to look at another property, and I do think that we'll have partners with Clare County, Gratiot, Isabel, and maybe Midland, so that's it. I will not take any more of your time on, yes.
I did speak with, I can't remember the guy's name that runs the MRF, but.
Jake.
Yeah, Jake. I spoke with him briefly, and he said, he was telling me about all that stuff, and that single stream was what he was looking forward to, but also that the recycling could become its own taxation type unit.
Yeah, it could become its own tax. You gotta understand that right now, we're in partnership, so with the city, with CMU. So what we would do is become a bigger partner.
Yeah.
Right now, the county is the administrator for the facility, so so that works. And, as far as like a person right now can sort like half a ton an hour, automation, you can go up to 20 ton an hour, you get a cleaner product. There'll be storage, so you can actually market your commodities, so, yeah, so there's a big savings just in labor alone, so. In the new setup right now, if there's a kink in the system, everything shuts down. Baler breaks down or belt line. The new system, if one thing breaks down, you'll be able to continue operating other parts until you can fix it, so it'll be continuously running, so.
So I'm sorry, were you done?
No, go ahead.
So were you describing like the potential for an authority then?
Yeah, that's what he meant,
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yes.
I know I don't get a vote in the MRF stuff, but I am a resident here, and the curbside recycling that we instituted in the township has been really popular, and single stream excites me personally. So you certainly have my support as a resident of the county.
Well, one of the biggest problems is that they have to have so many people to sort it at the truck. They actually got a truck that's got an arm that they don't have to get out of the truck, it just takes it and dumps it, so.
Really?
So if the county, if we haven't got into it, the county will actually do the trucking, or if the waste haulers, that's a financial decision we haven't got into yet, so, but I'll keep you updated as we get more information, so.
Great. And it's really nice to hear about the radios too. It seems like every conversation I have to have with the sheriff over the last year and a half, radios come up at some point. And getting
Yes.
something that allows different organizations to communicate better.
Well, I said it'll be so much, it's a time saving, so.
Right.
Even with the prosecutor, so. If there's no more questions, okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We have no public hearings tonight, so that will bring us to item 7 on the agenda, public comment. Public comment is restricted to 3 minutes regarding items on this agenda. We have nobody dialed in remotely, so I'll just speak to the public that's here. If you choose to address the public, please state your name and address for the record. And again, restricted to 3 minutes regarding items on this agenda. And with that, we'll open public comment.
All right, Ben Gunning, 2270 East Broomfield Road. I've got 3 things, actually. I'm going to take it, first one I have written down. Since we have a ZBA update here, I'm going to take the liberty of talking about the ZBA meeting last week. By the way, Mr. Buckley and Chair Tyson had probably one of the best debates that I've seen at a public meeting in a long time. It was very good. I was very disappointed, though, in the agenda on the memo from the attorney Eric Morris regarding Brandon Lobel. My question number 1 was, since it was dealing with conflict of interest, and it was an obvious conflict of interest, was it necessary to go to that extent? I thought it was harsh. I thought it put Mr. LaBelle in a very bad light. And for a volunteer board, and a volunteer member from a prominent family in the community that has given back to the township in regards to time and effort. I thought it was a very poor decision by the township administration to have that done. And then I also want to know how much did that cost? How much public money did we spend on something that Mr. Tyson and Mr. LaBelle were already planning on doing, which was recusal? Secondly, final board comment. It frustrates me when you guys are making final board comments and you ask an open-ended question and the public never hears the response. I saw Mr. Hauk, which, by the way, congratulations on your last day in a new adventure coming up. But Mr. Hauk brought up very specific details on the parking lot update and whether or not stormwater and permits were followed correctly. He said that in a final board comment meeting probably about 2 months ago. I never heard an answer. There was never one stated. What is the answer? You know, the questions were pretty specific. I like to know what the answer was as a general public member. Supervisor Milky bringing up the cutouts on Lincoln Broomfield. Was public money used? Hopefully that gets answered tonight, because to make these questions during that portion and then the public watching it and never hearing the answer, you know, that's not transparent. And so that's what we want to try to strive for, is always being transparent in this organization. So beyond that, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Floor is open if anybody else would like to get up. Thank you.
My name's Gene Haymaker. I live at 5480 East Valley Road, resident here in Union Township for about 23 years. First of all, I want to say thank you to Bill Hauk for his service to our township and things for the year, so I appreciate him. But I just want to speak to the board regarding his replacement, just briefly. I know you're not going to vote on that tonight, but it will be upcoming. And I just want to say tonight that previous precedent that was given by the township board in the past was a request that if somebody of a certain party goes off the board and leaves an opening for that the precedent was set that and request that they would be replaced by somebody of the same party. And so I'm just here tonight to express my desire that as Bill goes off, that we have an individual that in his replacement that would be able to step into that position, that would be representative of the views that he was voted in and expressed. So I just thank you for your consideration as you address that, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last call on public comment. See, when no one else coming forward, by the way, we opened at 7:09. Okay.
Yep.
And so we'll close public comment at 7:13 p.m. And thank you for your comments. That brings us to item 9 on our agenda, current list of boards and commissions, appointments as needed. Everybody's, I'm sure, gone through their packet. I'm excited to see that we have a lot of applicants for a lot of different boards. And so I thought if the board's okay with it, I just kind of steer us through each of the different boards, and then we can have discussion and see where that goes on each of those items. Is that reasonable?
Yes.
So EDA, we have one spot open, and I believe we, unless I missed something, we have one applicant, Mr. Robert Bacon, who's currently serving on the EDA.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Robert Bacon. How many year terms are those?
4.
4-year terms.
To a 4-year term on the EDA board.
Support.
Expiration date 1/13/27.
Yes.
Motion by Howe, support by Brown. Discussion? I'll only add as an EDA member myself that serving with Mr. Bacon, he's been a good board member, and I'm really appreciative that he's willing to serve again. So he'll certainly have my support.
I appreciate his service and also that he's willing to serve again too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Any other comments? All in favor of the motion to, I don't remember the date, I'm sorry,
1/13/2027.
to appoint Mr. Robert Bacon to the EDA until 1/3.
13/2027.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Bacon's reappointed. Let's see, we have the CRC, which is the Cultural and Recreational Commission. We have one person on that. I only saw one application in the packet. Did I miss any that anybody else is aware of?
No. I'll make a motion to reappoint Bob Somerville to another term on the Cultural and Recreation Commission with a term expiring 12/31/25.
Support.
Motion by Houck, support by Cody. Again, questions, comments?
I like Bob. He's
Yeah.
great, very responsible guy.
Good
I
guy.
think he's an excellent person for us. That's awesome.
I second that.
Yeah.
So I'm thrilled that he was willing to
Yeah.
reserve again as well.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor of appointing Mr. Somerville to the CRC, expiration of the term being 12/31/2025, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Mr. Somerville is appointed unanimously. We have no action on the sidewalks committee tonight, but I did want to point out, I was just kind of going through the list. Planning Commission has that responsibility of appointing someone to that, but I'm sure they would love any help in recruiting that we can offer them. So keep that in mind as you're out in the community, and we have an absence there. The Aquatic Recreational Authority, excuse me. We have one seat from the Township perspective that is expiring at the end of the year. Currently served by Allison Chiodini. I hope I pronounced her name right. This is a 3-year term, and at this point, we received the one application from Ms. Chiodini.
I will make a motion to reappoint Allison Chudini to the CRC,
12/31/25.
expiring 12/31/25. Thank you very much.
And to the Aquatic Recreational Authority,
Oh, I'm
correct?
sorry.
Yep.
AR,
Okay.
Aquatic Recreational Authority.
We have a motion. Did I hear support?
Herring.
Thering, thank you. So we have a motion by Bill, support by Thering. Comments, questions? Again, I think we're really fortunate to be able to appoint the 2 members that we did in this authority, joining the school district and the city. And I'm thrilled that she was also willing to step up, because their charge is a very important charge this coming year, because essentially they'll either continue to exist or not exist, depending on, I think, on what the voters decide. So thank you to her too. See no more comments, questions. All in favor of the motion to appoint Ms. Chiodini to the Aquatic Recreational Authority, expiration of 12/31/2025, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ms. Chiodini is appointed unanimously. Board of Review. Is a four-member board. One of those is an alternate. By state law, this is a 2-year term. And so we've come to that time again where we need to reappoint or appoint the Board of Review members. Again, as we have with the earlier boards we've dealt with, the current members were willing to serve again. I do sit on the Board of Review per state statute, and I would say that all four have contributed well and served well in their capacity, and I certainly recommend them, but I'm happy to entertain motions.
Do all the expiration dates, are they all in the same?
They're all the
date?
same.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'd like to appoint this, do I just say the whole slate?
You can do that,
Okay,
absolutely.
reappoint the whole slate for the Board of Review with the term ending 12/31/2024.
Support.
Motion by Bills, support by Brown.
Say the names, please.
Okay.
And just for clarity, correct me,
Doug
I'll
LaBelle.
let you say it.
Doug LaBelle, the second, Sarjeet Chowdhury, Brian Nair, and Randy Golden as the alternate.
Support.
Motion by Bill, support by Brown. Discussion? I already made my comments. I'm thrilled again. You never know. People, when they serve, sometimes they need to take a break, and the fact that they're re-upping is we're blessed for that. Seeing no more comments, happy to, all in favor of the motion to appoint the slate that was stated for Board of Review, term ending 12/31/2024, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Slate is reappointed unanimously. ZBA, one of our most important boards. And this one, a little different in that we had a number of applicants, and I was thrilled to see that. Ryan Buckley being the Planning Commission representative. And Andy Tyson, the current chair of the ZBA. I had an opportunity to serve with him on the ZBA. I want to thank him for his service. Great chair, but life has taken him in a place where he's not able to serve this time, and I think he may again in the future. But I want to thank him for his service. But with that, we have a slate of candidates in our packet. I'm happy to entertain any motions.
I was gonna do it all in one slate, but I think I'm gonna do them individually, if that's all right. I'd like to nominate for the ZBA Richard Bars for the term ending 12/31/25
Second.
Support. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
as a regular member. I think I'm
You
gonna
said
do
the
that.
25 date?
Yes.
We have a motion by Cody, support by Bills, to appoint Mr. Bars to the 2025, end of 2025. Discussion?
Rick's got a lot of experience on many boards. He's been involved in construction. He was the president of Isabella Bank for years. They built many facilities with him as president. So he knows what he's talking about.
I've known Rick for many, many years. I'm glad to see that he's come aboard. He wants to come aboard. I've worked with Rick on personal projects. He's a gentleman. Glad to see it.
And a wealth of experience.
A wealth of experience.
And I actually asked Rick to apply, and I was thrilled with his response. And I did that largely because I've served with him on the EDA. He's a great contributor on that board. And as Trustee Hauk just mentioned, he was on the Planning Commission for many years in the city, so that experience will help him a lot on the ZBA. So he certainly has my support. See no further questions or comments? All in favor of appointing Mr. Bars to the EDA, term ending 12/31/2025, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Mr. Bars is appointed unanimously.
I'd like to nominate Liz Presnell as a regular member for the ZBA expiration date 12/31/2025.
Support.
Motion by Cody, support by Hauk. Again, opening up the floor.
I don't know Liz.
She's willing to serve again.
Is that
Yeah.
She's willing to serve again, and
She talks when they have meetings. So
I will add, I did get a chance to serve with her on the ZBA. At that time, she was a new member, so she was still getting her feet wet. But from my understanding is she comes prepared, she comes with questions. And, you know, she's there to serve, and I appreciate that. Any other comments or questions? This is you said 25 in your motion?
25.
All in favor of the motion to appoint Ms. Presnell to the ZBA, term ending 12/31/2025, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ms. Presnell is appointed to the ZBA unanimously. Are there other motions?
I'll nominate Eric Luce for the ZBA as a regular member, expiration date 12/31/24.
Support.
Motion by Cody, support by Brown. Floor is
I personally know Eric. He's the owner of Central Interiors. He brings a younger vision to the board that I like to see. Getting some younger business owners from this community on the boards, I think will maybe be eye-opening for maybe, like, and I can talk for myself since I'm an old guy, for old guys like us, because I work around a lot of younger generations in my field now, and I'm learning every day, this old guy, that the younger generation does know what they do know what they talk about. So I'm glad to see Eric applied for this position, and love to see a younger business owner in this community want to get on our boards. It's nice.
other comments? That was 24, correct?
Correct.
All in favor of the motion to appoint Mr. Luce to the ZBA, term ending 12/31/2024, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Mr. Luce appointed to the ZBA unanimously.
Right, I would like to nominate David Coyne as alternate number 1 for the ZBA, term ending 12/31/24.
Support.
Motion to appoint Mr. Coyne, I heard 24, is that correct?
Yes, as an alternate.
As an alternate, thank you for clarifying that. So we have a motion by Cody, support by Brown. Comments?
Dave's got facilities all over the state of Michigan, so
I
he's
don't
dealt
think-
with everybody.
I don't think nobody, I don't think, no one here has to say anything about Mr. Coyne, so we all know where he stands, so.
Well, he
Glad to have
deserves
him
some
aboard.
accolades, though. Again,
He does,
I did
yes.
approach Mr. Coyne. He serves, I've served with him on the EDA. He's also one of those individuals that brings his thoughts and voices his thoughts, and I appreciate his willingness to join in.
Wealth of knowledge.
Yes. Other comments, questions? 24, correct? Forgive me for
24,
clarifying. I just want to
yes.
make sure I get it right. We have a motion to, are all in favor of the motion to approve Mr. Coyne to the ZBA, term ending 12/31/2024? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Mr. Coyne is appointed unanimously.
All right, we have one more regular term for expiration date 12/31/23. It was my personal self, I'd kind of toss up between 2 different people. I chose the one because he's been on the board and actually knows his laws and knows what he's doing. So I would like to nominate Brandon LaBelle on the ZBA for term ending 12/31/24 as a regular member.
Support. Was it 24 or 23?
23,
I
sorry.
was just going to ask for that because we need to stagger these per state.
Yeah, I was trying to go in
Yeah.
order.
I'm sorry, I heard support. Okay, so we have a motion by Cody, support by Hauk. Comments, questions?
Thank you, Mr. LaBelle, for reapplying.
He served on the planning commission and on the ZBA, so another person with a wealth of knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure of serving with him on the planning commission. So seeing no other comments, this is 23.
Yes.
All in favor of appointing Mr. LaBelle to the ZBA, term ending 12/31/2023, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Mr. LaBelle's appointed unanimously.
Then we have one more open spot, alternate number 2 for the ZBA. I'd like to nominate Jeff Brown as a trustee member.
Support.
Office will end on his elected office term.
Support.
Motion by Cody, support by Hauk. Do you have any comments, Mr. Brown?
Appreciate the opportunity.
Well, even though I sit by him, I like him. So.
I know we're appointing all these people, but hopefully they don't have to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the main goal.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't need-
have to meet.
That's a really good point, Trustee Hauk, and I think it's worth the public hearing that too, is our, the township updated our ordinance a few years back, done some minor revisions to it since, and the amount of meetings that our ZBA is required to have now, I think they had 2 in 22, 2 meetings, one in January, one in December, and I think 2021 was very similar, wasn't it? I think 2 meetings. And that speaks to the staff here, that speaks to the ordinance. But when the ZBA is needed, we need them there, and I appreciate their work. So we have a motion. Any other comments? We have a motion to appoint Mr. Brown to the ZBA, term ending at the end of his current office. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Mr. Brown, thank you.
You're
Trustee Brown, I should say.
Thank you, sir.
Just checking with the board. Did I miss anything? I think we went through the entire slate of openings that we have. I will add that in my memory, as long as I've been serving in this township, I don't think we've ever had the ZBA completely full. Not that I recall. I'm checking with one of our public members here.
We did.
We did?
We did
Okay.
back in like 2012 or 13.
13.
Because Norm and I were on it. We were the alternates.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, it's just been a while, so it's nice to see a full complement. Unless someone sees that I missed something, I'm gonna move us on then. That brings us to item 9B on our agenda, Planning Commission, EDA, sidewalks, and ZBA updates by our Community and Economic Development Director, Mr. Nanny. You have the floor.
Thank you. We've already talked quite a bit about the Zoning Board of Appeals, and as was mentioned, they did meet on December 7th. They had one item on their agenda. This was a request for an interpretation of the zoning ordinance, specifically an interpretation related to religious institutions. It was a request from the Thrive Community Church, which is a church currently located in Mount Pleasant. They're looking at a property in the township over on Bud Street, and identified that property as part of their application. And they made this request for interpretation because they were looking for certainty related to whether they could pursue all of the activities that they desired to pursue on this particular property. The challenge was related to the zoning district. We have 3 business districts. 2 of them allow churches, religious institutions, and also basically non-religious public assembly facilities, theaters, concert halls, and other places of public assembly, both as permitted uses, simply subject to site plan approval. It happens that the B7 doesn't allow the non-religious public assembly activities, only has the reference to religious institutions currently. And that was creating challenges related to the full scope of the activities that they wish to pursue there. The Board of Appeals did extensive deliberations, was mentioned. There was a lot of discussion. They actually had 3 motions. The first 2 failed, and they ultimately passed a motion to certainly clarify based on their interpretation, the definition of religious institution. They did not cover the full ground that the church wanted, but I think the church representatives went away more confident that they could pursue their project. So that was the Zoning Board of Appeals. We had an EDA board meeting since we last met. Then they had their special meeting on the 29th of November. They had several items on their agenda. I think I mentioned them as coming up during our last meeting, so I'll just quickly mention there's Outreach in Michigan, their participation in that program. They also approved an update to the rates that MMI charges for cleanup along the East Pickard Road corridor, and approved the Isabella Corporation as a demolition contractor for the blighted building at 2120 Yates Drive. That project is underway. The other item we have coming up yet is the Planning Commission. They'll be meeting next week, next Tuesday on the 20th. They will have 3 items on their agenda, business items. One is review the Prestige Center. This is the assisted living facility. It's expansion of the existing assisted living facility over on East Broadway. That has come in for a final site plan approval. This is an update. They were on the November agenda. They received preliminary site plan at that time. The second item on their list is a hearing on a set of zoning ordinance text amendments. We call it our second punch list set. That, as we've worked with the ordinance, we've developed some items that needed tweaking. So they're holding a hearing on that set. Expect that to be coming before this body at some point soon. The hearing's on their agenda, and then the last item is, I think, as we talked about as well, they are looking at a potential resolution that would come before this body for approval related to participation in the Redevelopment Ready Communities Program. This is a statewide program. It's free to local governments. But they offer basically some technical assistance, but also they have a set of best practices related to land use and land development ordinances, development review processes, and in particular for our planning commission, some recommendations related to potential updates to the master plan to promote and encourage redevelopment of older commercial sites and industrial sites. So they're looking at a draft resolution, and they would be, if they choose to, they would be making a recommendation on that would eventually come to you as well. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for our director?
Well, looks like you answered them all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your
Thank
report.
you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That brings us to item 9C on our agenda, board member reports. Let's start with Trustee Brown.
I don't have a report.
Trustee Bills.
I was on vacation last week, so I did not attend the Isabella County Board of Commissioners, but Mr. Trustee House did attend that for me. I did have a chance to go to the Middle Michigan Development Corporation breakfast the other day, and I got to meet the new city planner, so that was really cool. I met a bunch of people, and including my banker, which I never met, only through email. So that was really cool, and it was a great presentation on Michigan tourism, so it was really, really cool by the guy that developed the Pure Michigan campaign. It was awesome. That's all I have.
And we happen to have a report from the Honorable Engler here today, so
Yes, sir.
that worked out well. Trustee Therian?
Probably the 11th. Is it the 11th, our next meeting in January? That's probably when I'll have something. Yeah. We haven't had a meeting, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. Treasurer Rice?
Haven't had a sidewalks and pathways meeting. I do, however, taxes went out, and that in the mail, and I did want to apologize. The yellow copies are the mortgage copies for everybody. I forgot to put the informational on there. I forgot to print the informational copy, so it just looks like a tax bill. So if you got a yellow copy, it is information only. So, yeah.
Very good. Thank
Yeah.
you. Clerk Cody?
We had a state hand recount. I don't remember the day, but
Last
Union
Wednesday.
Township, was it?
Last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday. Union Township numbers were perfect, spot on. And then our county recount was Monday, and numbers were spot on perfect again.
Yay.
And that was
We
in
did a good job.
two precincts, correct? We're done?
2 precincts. So
in two
3
different
was
audits.
done for the state, which counted the AB. So 3A and 3B was counting for 3 and for 4 because the AB had to be pulled out. And then 2, they just did the precinct 2 that was done at the precinct. So
Congratulations. It's got to feel good to
yeah,
have it all work.
it does.
Great job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent job.
Trustee Hauk?
I went to a road commission meeting last Thursday, and a question was brought up earlier tonight and at our last meeting about the new access points on Broomfield and Lincoln Roads. I asked that question last Thursday, and there was no cost to the project. Actually, they said it saved money because the owners didn't take any money for their easements. McGurk's and Figs took no money for easements. So they made those 2 cut-ins, and as far as the length off the road, there was a question asked why there's that cutoff there. That's the property owner's responsibility. The road commission only has so many feet of easement, so they maximize theirs, and it's the property owner's responsibility after that. Their salt and sand piles are ready for tomorrow. We're supposed to get a snowstorm. They're ready for winter. I just said tomorrow because we're supposed to get a storm. One thing they've been talking about quite a bit, they're having a lot of problems out on Wynn Road with Pleasant Dairy. It's a dairy farm out there that continuously they're having problems with mud on the roads, manure on the roads, busting the roads up with big equipment. And they have some solutions that they're going to talk to him about, maybe making another access road into his property, which would make a lot more sense. Be a lot safer and everything too. All of their road projects were completed as of 12/22. They're currently working on estimates for 2023. I can't read my writing on this one. There's a new bridge approved, and in Township there was a new bridge approved for 2025. They find out about them now for projects that are 2 and 3 years down the road. Township meetings are scheduled for February, and the expectations are is their projects will be similar next year as to what they were this year, spending about the same amount of money as what they were talking. So
I appreciate you asking the question regarding the cutouts, because I was kind of curious how that happened, and that your explanation is very helpful.
thank you.
Any other questions, comments? I don't have a lot. I'm fortunate enough to have Mr. Nanny do the EDA report, so I won't add anything to that. I will mention Board of Review met on Tuesday, I believe it was. It's just an organizational meeting. It was Tuesday. And I think we had 4 adjustments to assessments that were voted on and approved. And then March 7th, it is not scheduled yet, but on or about March 7th will be an organizational meeting gearing up for assessment challenges, which will be, I believe, that following week. State kind of controls that calendar a little bit, but so as I know more and we have solid dates, I'll make sure I make the public aware too in this forum. And with that, that moves us to item 10 on our agenda, consent agenda. Happy to entertain any motions regarding the consent agenda.
I
Make
moved
a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
support.
Motion by Hauk, support by Bills.
I went over
Thank
everything.
you. You knew what I was going to ask.
I went over everything yesterday, and I was kind of shocked by one thing. It said for the Township cleanup day we had, I saw where it said Mount Pleasant Rental Center, and it said Porta-John, $7.83. I thought, wow, that's all it is to get a Porta-John? And that wasn't it. It was a waiver for the, I don't know, insurance on it or something. That they reimburse you back. But I was kind of, next time I have a party, I'm getting a Porta-John. But everything looked okay other than that.
Any other questions, comments? We had a motion, correct?
Yes.
My apologies. It was by Hauk and support by,
Bills.
thank you again.
Mhm.
We had a lot of motions tonight, so it's a little hard.
Yes, sir.
They're getting flurry to me. So we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda passes unanimously. That brings us to new business 11 on the agenda. Item A, consideration of approving and adopting the 2023 budget. As a reminder, one way or another, we will approve a budget before the end of the year. That is our charge. And Mr. Stuhldreher, do you have any introductions that you would like to give?
Yes, thank you, and good evening, everybody. There's some paperwork related to this item that begins on page 40 of your agenda packet. As was mentioned, the Uniform Budget Act requires that the budget for the next fiscal year be adopted no later than 12/31/22. The township has properly posted and held the public hearing that's required for the budget approval process. The board has met and discussed the recommended budget at least 2 of your meetings, if not more. There are 3 changes contained in the recommended budget that are different from the original recommendation, and that was following the discussions that the board had at their meetings. One adjustment is the current recommendation is the water turn-on/off fee for non-payment remain at the FY22 fee level, which is $120. And that's a one-time charge. It's not a charge for an on and then an off, so it's $120. The other change in the recommendation is the removal of the ARPA funds to support certain water and sewer projects. That's been removed. That funding has been removed. The projects themselves are still budgeted, but the expenses will be supported by existing resources. And then $16,000 was added to specifically provide funding for the citizen survey that the board has asked to be done in 2023. Those are the 3 changes that were made to the budget following your original receipt. The appropriation resolution in your packet, it speaks to the adoption of the various funds. I'll just enumerate them: the general fund, the fire fund, special assessment, East EDA, West EDA, 2% grant, sewer and water, and also it sets the millage for 2023, and the resolution also addresses the adoption of the fee schedule. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I don't have any questions, but I'd like to discuss it.
And I just want to add one comment to this. As I was going through the budget some more, I had talked to our manager on that third item, and that's to change the citizen survey project. I took that from our previous discussions as a board that we had that desire, and I said, I don't see this in the budget. I want to make sure So I want you to know kind of where that was prompted, and our manager's like, oh, it's good to identify that specifically. We would have had the funds to do it, but to set that as a goal is important to put in there. And my feelings on it were that not only is it important, I think, how this board has spoken about it, but master plan coming up this year. You know, that's gonna be very helpful for the planning commission too, if we can get that data in a timely fashion for them.
And if I may,
Sure,
when I
please.
was listing off the funds, I failed to mention there is a budget. In addition to the other funds I listed, the American Rescue Plan Act has a budget for 2023 to address the $48,000 that was part of your appropriation or your decision to put in the outdoor exercise equipment.
Thank you.
Did we apply for the grant for that? For that park? From the Spark grants that I asked you to do, or asked for about like a month ago?
That you asked me to do?
Well, I emailed you about it, yeah.
For the outdoor
Jameson.
project?
Yes, sir, that's specifically,
We applied for a grant for that project, and that was awarded.
not the
from-
priority health.
That was a grant. You individually asked me about applying for a Sparks grant,
Yes,
and that deadline is not hit yet, I don't think.
I believe it's tomorrow, or the next day.
And I don't know if we're gonna make that or not. And that was funding for,
Specifically for outdoor recreation, $25 million for 2023.
so it wasn't specific for the outdoor recreation facility that we already had funded.
I don't have the
But-
details right in front of me, but I did
Right.
send you the link.
But I do. And yes, I had an email from you letting me know that the Sparks grant was available. We knew that, and we considered applying for it, and we are attempting to apply for it. I don't know if we are gonna make it or not. So that's the answer to your question.
Well, in my email, I also did say I would help. So, I mean, I never even got any communication except that you were going to apply for it. You were doing that. So that's all I know about it. But that's a $200,000 project that we're gonna lose money on now because we didn't apply for a grant if we don't get it in. That's very disturbing.
Okay, so we have the general budget, so I'm happy opening it up to anything this board wants to discuss. Trustee Bills?
All of the water turnoff fees should be set back. I don't know why there's one here that's being, addressed. These fees are exorbitant. You look at 2020 or 2019, they're $15, and now they want to raise it to $120. People that can't pay their bill are not gonna do any better by paying an extra $120 for a fee. And I think, like Mr. Stuhldreher said, these fees amount to $4,000. That is not even a drop in the bucket of the water budget. So I think that those particular fees do not have to be raised, and I think they should be sent back. I'd be willing to vote for $45 for each of those fees, or maybe a little more for the turn on, turn off. Number two, I'm very happy that you have listed the second thing about removing the ARPA funds from Public Works, because not everybody in this township has a public water or sewer. So I think it's important not to charge every single person in the county for these fees with the ARPA money, And then, number three, the $16,000 for the survey. We've been asking for a survey for 2 years since I've been on the board. I think the board should be involved in that survey. I think it should be in the board budget. That's all I've got.
Can you, just for my clarity, the $15 you referenced, can you say that again?
Let me get you the exact budget it came from. I believe it was the first one we had together. It was either 2019 or 2020. It was the one when we came in, and I didn't vote on that one because I wasn't on the board yet. That was the one I got, the first one I got, was the 2020 budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the water shut-off fee and the water, non-pay was $15. And now, the budget for this year originally was 165, that's 1,100%. In 3 years. And I know that we had a fee study done by a company that didn't compare any of the local jurisdictions around us. And I find it to be just outrageous, those particular fees. That hurt people that don't have any money.
Trustee Hogg?
One thing on the fees, I was gonna email Kim and I just haven't done it, haven't had time, whatever, it's my own fault. I was gonna suggest, I know we had talked to one of the previous last meeting or the meeting before, turn-offs, and when you go turn it off and then you have to go turn back on, you said there's a lot of repeat offenders. So I was wondering if maybe if we did charge the $91 or the $68 that we were proposing, just keep it at that for repeat offenders. Because I think you had mentioned that you have a lot of those.
We do, but I think that would be hard to do, Bill, because what are you gonna consider a repeat offender? We have people that are on there every quarter, and then we have people that maybe are on there twice. Is that gonna be considered? I think I just think we need to just treat everybody the same. If your water gets shut off for non-payment, then we don't run into trying to make a decision for this resident and this customer versus this resident and this customer.
I just wondered if there were a lot of
whatever
rental
you go,
units
you know.
that, the landlords aren't making the payments. I'm fine.
Also, thank you very much, Ms. Smith, for sending that study to all of us.
You're welcome.
I just have
Yeah,
one
just
other.
please
I just
jump in.
have one other suggestion. I think we need to. I go to a lot of the Council of Governments meetings. With everything that's going on with the township clerks, I feel that we need to give our township clerk a raise. I'd like to see that salary increased by another $7,500. That's just that's just a suggestion I'm throwing out there. I'd make a motion if I had to.
I don't disagree with you at all. In fact, I agree with you that that needs to actually be addressed, especially with, in 2018, we had 2 proposals that affected the clerk's office. This last election in November, we had another proposal that dramatically affects the clerk's office. At any time this calendar year, we can make that adjustment. And I guess that's been my thought, is because I think I want a better understanding of how this new proposal affects our clerk's office. Because regardless of this new proposal, I think the changes, particularly mail-in ballots, and the work that creates, that's put additional work onto our clerk. But I didn't know if I felt I had the information to make sure it's fair, because it does need to be fair, and that I agree with 100%.
I just think in 2024, you're going to see a lot of people that kept their signs that ran in 2020. They threw them out in the dumpster because they're not going to run again in 2024. A lot of the clerks.
I
Trustee,
agree
yeah.
with your statement about having all the information so we can make the best decision. I also think, though, we should say that we're going, it's open-ended.
Right.
So let's pick a day and start the conversation and say, by this date, we're gonna have a decision. I think this is something we've talked about maybe last year, we touched on a little bit last year, and we just didn't pick it back up. Not intentionally, it just happened. And I'm fine with waiting for the information. That's a good idea. We need to pick a date that we're gonna start and a date that we hope to have a decision by.
So, go ahead, Trustee Bills.
One of the things I asked for the first time this came up a couple years ago, I'm all in favor for it, but I wanna see how many hours the clerk actually spends doing work on elections and regular weekly work. I don't know what her schedule is here. I don't know any of this stuff. I don't know how I would ever determine what kind of salary to pay. But I never got anything on that, so I'm still waiting to know what the breakdown of hours is per week, and the normal schedule, the election schedule. I don't know any of this, so I would like that if we consider this.
I agree with Mr. Hulk 100%. We could make a motion right now. We've all talked about this. I believe we are so lucky to have Cody, Lisa Cody with us and working for us. She was called out by the county clerk. She did such a great job this time.
That's right.
I've seen the hours. I would never have to ask or and nothing against Connie what you're asking for, but I don't need to see your hours and what you work. We know what you work. I know what you work, and we've all talked about that. I definitely think she's due for a raise, personally, and that's.
And I appreciate that. I would be open to the proposal that Trustee Hauk brought up. But I still want to go through that process later of making sure that the office of the clerk is getting what it should.
Call it by the end of the first quarter.
Maybe we'll determine
that,
that it's
yeah.
more. Maybe we'll,
Well,
you
I
know,
agree with you.
maybe that position's gonna change a little bit. I don't know, so there's nothing to say that we can't start it. We can't back step a little bit and start it from a particular date. I'm not sure if we can do that or not, but,
Prorated, you
I
mean?
think we could do
I
anything we
don't-
want.
well,
Maybe do it
being
by the end of
respective
the
of
first.
what's around us here, I would prefer to have all the information. Like I said, to me, it's more important that we pick the date, saying second meeting in January we're going to start, and we hope to have. Our goal is to be ready the first meeting in March to make a decision, and then we can take care of her appropriately.
Make it March 22nd. You're meeting your March 22nd meeting. It's about the end of the first quarter of the year. You got a election coming up, or a vote that will be coming up in May, right?
Man.
Do you think necessarily it'll take that long?
I don't
Well,
know.
let me ask you a question, if I may, of our clerk. So, we spoke about this at the last meeting even. You weren't sure of all that this means yet until clerks kind of figure it out and the details are understood. Do you have a timeline on when you feel you'll have a handle on that?
No, if you look at proposal 2, it says it only applies to federal and state elections, so it's not gonna apply to any elections this coming up year. But we will have 2. So the 9 days early voting won't start until the following year. But, so the state has that much time to kind of,
Okay, so it's the
Figure it out.
even year elections then.
yeah,
But it still adds more work.
yeah.
9 days.
Yeah, I would think that it would. So I guess the question is, since this is not something that we'll probably know a lot about for this coming fiscal year, I guess the question to this board is the proposal that Trustee Hauk just put out, are you all comfortable with that for next year?
Yeah.
It's a question you ought to ask yourself, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because once we figure out what Prop 2,
Prop
sorry,
2.
Prop 2 is going to do to the clerk's offices, I mean, I would still want to reevaluate that once we understand that.
Well, it might require her to increase her budget. You never know. She might have to say, hey, I'm going to need my clerk more hours too.
All right, any other issues with, are we okay if we kind of keep moving?
Yeah.
Yep.
Trustee Bills brought up a few items. Do others want to comment? Turn on, turn off, fees? because that was a hot item in our previous discussions. I guess the one I was most concerned about, this is me, in our last discussion was the turn on, turn off for non-payment. That was my primary
That was
concern. Because that's typically going to be targeted at those that can least afford it. And so that was my primary concern. I'm not opposed to looking at all of the fees, but that's the one that I wanted to see not raised.
Well, if it cost you $91 to go south for a few months to get it turned off and $91 to get it put back on, that's $182. That's basically 3/4 worth of water. So I think that's ridiculous, honestly. So in other words, you're just, you're making it, a penalty for somebody to go away for a vacation or go south for a couple months. And that's a severe penalty to turn their water off, which actually, is a good thing to do because it saves the, possibility of floods in your house and whatnot. But that's a penalty, and that's, like I said, very few dollars are being raised from this. And the few people that it affects, I think it's just a ridiculous amount of money.
Well, I'm supportive of the recommendation from the administration regarding keeping that turn on, turn off. I could support either of the numbers Trustee Bills just spoke to regarding just turn on and turn off. This isn't a showstopper for me. So if a motion was made to approve our budget with either of those numbers, I'm going to support it.
I will make a motion to approve the budget as presented. Oh, do I have to read the whole thing?
It would be good.
All right. I make a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2023 appropriations resolution covering the following funds: general, fire, special assessment, East DDA, West DDA, 2% grant, sewer and water, and approval of the 2023 fee schedule and millage rates with the following changes. That the water turn-on fee for non-payment is set at $45. That the water turn-on, turn-off fee for regular reasons is set at $45. And that the $16,000 is switched to the board budget instead of the manager's budget, or a combination of the two, because I think we should be involved, that's all.
We don't
Could you
have a
add,
board budget, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Like that,
Yeah, we do. We have a board budget. It's in there.
for that?
You have a trustees budget, which covers 4 of you.
In a trustee budget.
And then you have a budget for the clerk, a separate budget for the treasurer, and a separate budget department for the supervisor.
Yeah, it can't come out of the clerk budget. Mine's like pushed. Sorry.
I mean, it's earmarked properly, so it
So I
You
think
can go
that's
where-
fine.
you can go
doesn't
wherever
matter.
you-
Right,
You can go wherever y'all want it.
right.
Oh,
I'm fine with leaving it right where it's at.
Okay,
because it
scratch
is
that
earmarked
last thing.
specifically.
Connie, could you add into there and consider increase for the clerk? And
No.
we should
You can-
probably.
you can-
either way, you'd have to do it at the next meeting because you have to have a separate resolution for it. I thank you for thinking of it, but it has to be done separately.
All right.
I need more information on the position, like these guys said.
It's
That-
changed
It-
drastically
Well,
since the
exactly, but I
last,
still don't have any of
just
the
the last 2
detail.
years.
I don't
It's
I know you're
more
working
than
hard.
100%. And it hasn't had a raise,
Okay.
increase in
Six
about
years.
20 years.
Oh, that's
Okay,
good.
let me stop us for just a sec.
But I'm just saying
The-
that's
the
that.
clerk's
but
right.
It can't be done right now, either
The
way.
clerk is right about, obviously, regarding salary stuff. So I'm very comfortable putting this on our agenda at the next meeting if this board desires that.
Yeah,
Yes.
That would be great.
The next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
thanks.
And then we do have a motion. I haven't heard its support, so I want to,
I need to hear
Get
the
us
other
back
piece
on-
again,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Maybe
you mind
repeat your
restating
motion
it?
again.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I think that these guys want to hear it over here.
I was
too.
gonna say, I think it was the dollars, right? Not necessarily that.
Not
Is
the
that
motion?
Just your add-ons,
Your
mostly.
add-ons.
Okay, the only thing I have is that the water turn-on, turn-off fee for non-payment is set at $45. That the water turn-on, turn-off, or turn-on or turn-off fee For other reasons, it's at $45.
You mean regular business hours?
Yes, sir, only.
So the after hours stays at the 195?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's overtime.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just trying
right.
to,
So it's $45 to turn it on and turn it off, so it's 90 total?
For the, you know.
for the regular business hours.
Yeah.
The non-payment is one-time payment of 45 is what
45,
she's
yeah.
saying.
What about the,
Final read?
yeah.
I don't care about that. Sorry.
Could you include the ARPA fund in your motion?
Well, the only change I made was number 1. The ARPA fund was already in there.
In terms of your stated motion, I can't recall if
Oh.
you listed.
Oh, ARPA
many
wasn't
of the
listed
funds.
in the motion, in the resolution that I saw.
Special.
It's not
The
listed.
resolution in your packet's on page 42.
Yeah.
I don't think you're wanting to read that, because that's not what you started to read.
42. No, I mean well, whatever you're calling that thing in the box there, that's what we usually use for our motion.
Action requested.
Yeah. Doesn't say ARPA. Just
So if
says
you could
the,
include the ARPA, because that is one of the budgets in your
He's just
packet.
asking you to include it.
oh, I thought he said, did I? Okay, so can you add ARPA to that motion?
Funds.
Could you clarify, just meaning
I would,
follow the staff recommendation on, that's in our
Make
packet
'em-
on this?
that's not what he's saying.
No, that's
Sewer,
what I'm asking, because
water.
I'm confused now.
Wait,
Sewer
saying
and
that-
water and ARPA funds
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
and approval of the 2023.
Is there anyone here that now doesn't understand the motion that's on the floor?
all
And
set.
where is the 16 going in your motion? We don't care where, we just need to know.
We left it as it is, manager.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Just about to say, we have a motion.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get a second? All right, so we have a motion by Bill, support by Hauk, discussion.
Let me just look at it really quick.
Can we clarify the changes? What are
Sure.
what are the changes? Just, can we clarify that, because I'm a bit confused. What, so from 90 to 45? From 90
From
90 to
91 each
Well, that's the
for turn on and turn off
Page
to
64.
45 each for turn
Page
on and turn
64.
off.
Yeah, okay.
And then for non-payment, 45 instead of the
Okay.
recommended
Thank you. I got it.
120.
Thank you.
Because they were bringing it down to 120, so.
Okay.
Like I said, page 64, Jeff.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. All right.
I'm good.
So regular business, 91 to 45.
Trustees, do we have comments here? Trustee Brown?
I'm good. I'm fine. My questions were answered. Thank you,
Just give me a
Trustee.
second.
Terry. Appreciate it.
After-
Pointing that out.
Trustee Theron?
It's all good.
You made the motion, Trustee Bills, but I'll ask you anyways if you have other comments.
I got nothing, sir.
Okay.
I sure hope I'm involved in that survey.
Treasurer Rice?
Oh,
I'm just trying to go through the numbers in my head, so I'm okay.
Trustee Howe?
I'm fine.
Clerk Cody?
sorry, I was trying to find the page. So regular business hours, it'll say 45 instead of 91. For non-payment, it'd be 45?
Yep.
Not 90? Like,
Right.
you know, because.
That's right.
Okay.
That's what I'm proposing. If you wanna
45
change-
each to turn it on and turn it off.
No.
No?
No?
It
Oh,
doesn't say
That's
each.
okay.
that's a combo fee.
That's why I
Okay.
was asking.
Okay.
All right, so my comments are, I could absolutely support the turn on, turn off at 45 for non-payment. I'm not sure the other, this is not something I feel strongly about. It's not going to stop me from voting affirmatively on this budget, but I'm, especially if this board is in support of that. So I'm kind of getting, for me, I need to know that there is support for that Because if so, then I can go with this board and approve this as well.
If that's all, that we're hung up on this budget.
That's my
I-
point.
I'm voting for
That's my
this.
point.
Yeah.
It's not-
I'm gonna vote for it if that's all we're hung up for. I'll be honest.
Okay, I just want to be clear. It's 45 each during regular business hours or alone, because it says each in the paper.
But it's not, because
Okay, so am I taking it
Director
out?
Smith corrected that last time.
She said
In this
for
one.
non-payment, it was
Right.
not each.
It says turn on.
Non-payment was not each.
That's correct.
It's turn on and turn off
That's
for
correct.
regular business hours was each.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
so one says each, one
Okay,
does
and
not.
that's
So
what
keep
we
the
were trying
each,
to
right?
clarify, because when I just said it a minute ago, I was told
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Well, the,
Okay.
the non-pay is a combo fee. But it did say each, with the red line, it said each on that, and it isn't, that 165.
Right,
What-
she clarified that at the
That's
last one.
Correct.
The
And-
one I think, anyway,
And then
that
this one's-
we're
That is
trying to
each.
clarify
So-
is the regular
Let me
business
stop
hours.
us. Let me stop us. May I make a suggestion on your motion that you add in the language
Each.
one-time payment on the, for non-payment? So that it's very,
Yes.
so it's very clear.
Yes, I'd like to add for the non-pay that it's a one-time for turn on and turn off and turn on.
Trustee Hauk,
I-
you good with
yeah,
that?
I agree.
For
For
45 bucks,
non-payment?
but the regular business hours
It's
is
each,
$45 each,
correct.
correct,
See?
right? Trustee Bills?
For the turn on, turn off, yes.
Okay, thank you. That is each.
All right, I think we got that. So I want to make sure we have full opportunity here. Any other issues? I mean, we spent some time with this budget. This has been the one spot that we've really gotten hung up on.
Yeah.
But are there other issues that this board would like to ask questions, have concerns?
It's roll call either way.
Either way, I just want to make sure that we've done the deliberation that you all want to make sure you have.
I'm happy
Sure.
with the budget, otherwise I think that, I'm really happy that, that the administration took out the ARPA funds paying for, public services, which not everybody participates in. So I want that to go towards something that everybody can benefit from, in my opinion, and that's what I'd like to also see in the survey, eventually.
And I just want to clarify a comment you said. We did talk about surveys some first year that this board was together. But my understanding is it was this year that we made the decision that we wanted that done. And we asked the manager specifically to make sure that that gets done and budgeted for this following year. That's how I understood it.
Well,
But we need it.
we don't need, well, I'm not here to talk about policy governance, but we're supposed to do this annually. Hear from leadership of the community or representatives of the community annually. So we haven't done it since I've been on this board.
There are different ways to do that besides the survey that we talked about that we feel we need. I mean, that's another way is my point. Yes.
I mean, we
Clerk Cody?
also reach out, like, go to the city
Right.
meetings and, I have clerk meetings, so we talk to all the clerks together. You go to the county meetings, and road commission meetings, so that's another way to reach out too.
And conversations in the community
Yeah.
and, I mean, there's,
Many
yeah,
ways.
in all these different ways, we should be doing exactly what you described. Trustee Thering.
I would also like to say that one way that we've reached out to ownership is the staff has put together these TVs and interaction from your home that a person can participate from their home.
If they can afford internet.
It's one, yeah, but it's another.
It's
Another way.
just another way. It's still there.
Or another way, just have road construction in front of your house and you meet all your neighbors.
Yep.
That
Every
is
single
another way to
one.
do it. It really works well.
All right, if there's no objection, I'll ask our clerk to do a roll call on the motion. Last chance for the board members. Clerk Cody, do you have enough that you could reread that motion so people know? Anybody not clear on the motion?
You want me to reread it?
No, let me ask if anybody's not clear.
I'm clear.
All right, roll call, please.
Clerk Cody, yes. Trustee Bills.
Yes.
Trustee Hauk.
Yes.
Trustee Thering.
Yes.
Supervisor Milky.
Yes.
Treasurer Rice.
You forgot
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
I didn't.
Oh,
Trustee Brown.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, you were
I'm
going
going in a weird.
Oh, I thought you were going in alphabetical order.
Thanks,
Was
thanks
I?
trustee Hope for watching out
All
for me.
yeses.
Sorry, Lisa.
Congratulations, thanks, guys.
That's fine.
Motion to pass the budget with some minor modifications, passes unanimously. I do want to thank the board. This is the most important part of our job, is the fiduciary responsibility. We've had some good debate, and I appreciate everybody's input and respect of each other. So with that, when we look at our agenda, that brings us to item B, 11B on our agenda, adoption of the 2023 meeting schedule. I trust you all had a chance to look at that. Manager Stuhldreher, do you have anything you want to add or
I
introduce?
do not.
If you have any questions, please ask them, or I'd be happy to entertain motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed Board of Trustee meeting schedule for the 2023 calendar year in accordance to the Open Meetings Act.
Support.
We have a motion by Cody, support by Brown. Is that correct? Did I heard that?
That is correct.
Yes.
Discussion?
There was a date I wanted to make a note of. but I
Is it
can't-
the April
the
5th
joint-
one? The joint one, yeah.
That may need to be changed depending on everybody else's availability, so we'll just keep that up in the air. But approve it for now, yeah.
Yeah, it's
You know.
just, it's the week after Mount Pleasant Public Schools break, and I want to make sure it doesn't conflict with CMU's break.
The April 5th date, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
just, you know,
Just
keep
in
it in your
case.
mind that it may
Okay.
need to be
Yeah.
changed future, but
Alright.
we're gonna make it set for this right now.
Right, just for that joint meeting. So we have a motion to approve the schedule as presented. Any other discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting schedules approved unanimously. That brings us to item 11C on our agenda, receipt of trustee Hauk's resignation notice and an action to accept. Again, I don't think anybody on this board's not aware. It was kind of weird coming in here tonight thinking this is Bill's last scheduled meeting. I'm sorry, trustee Hauk, my apologies.
That's right.
But we did receive his resignation, and he's going on to represent our community in the road commission. And I think with that, I'll leave it up to the board.
I'll make a motion to accept trustee Hauk's resignation letter with the exception that the effective date is 12/31/22.
Support.
A motion
If it's
by
okay with
Cody,
trustee Hauk.
support by Bills. Discussion?
I was gonna say, is
Just
Bill
in
okay
Well,
with that?
If we
I
had
don't
an
know,
emergency
you know,
meeting before,
If we had an emergency meeting,
you
I
know,
would.
that way you're still here and we need you.
If we had an emergency meeting, I would, but
Appreciate that.
I'd
Bill.
also
Thank-
like to, know who's gonna replace me too. I know I can't vote on it, so.
I'd like to say that I have appreciated having Bill on the board. He's an excellent person to have on the board, and he'll make a great addition to the road commission board.
Thank you.
I want
And
to,
will be missed.
I'd like to say that trustee Hauk was probably one of my biggest helps coming onto the board when I was voted in. It was a bit daunting, never being in politics or ever even thinking I'd be trying to run an election or get voted in as a trustee. But when it was, Bill was the first one to reach. And I want to thank Trustee Hauk for reaching out to me, giving me advice, standing beside me, helping me answer questions. There was a lot of phone calls at the beginning, and I just publicly and personally want to thank you, Trustee Hauk, for your help. I really enjoyed working with you.
Well, I had help when I got on here too, so
Yep.
gotta
Thank
pass
you.
it along.
Appreciate it.
Just paying it forward, right?
Yeah.
I'll do the same, all right,
All right,
for
yeah.
the next one.
And I certainly want to recognize Trustee Hauk didn't just serve with this board, but on previous board as well. So this is, you just passed 6 years on the Board of Trustees. Kudos to you, thank you. You certainly have a good skill set and what seems to be a desire from the road commission perspective, and I have no question you'll be a great road commissioner, so. I
They
wish you-
asked me. I mean, I really had no desire to go on that board, you guys, but they asked me back in March. And I thought about it for a couple months, well, a month, and decided to do it.
Well, I can understand why they asked you. If we said, no, we don't want you to leave, would you just stay then?
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks, Bill.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, trustee.
thank you, Bill. Trustee Haug. Other comments or questions? We have a motion on the floor. Do we need a roll call on this by chance?
You don't need a roll call. We didn't do it last
I
time.
just
Well, I
want to
don't think we did it
okay.
last time. I don't remember.
Any other comments? We have a motion on the floor to accept Mr. Haug's, Trustee Haug's, my apologies, resignation effective 12/31/2022.
That's what I said.
At the end of that day, you said?
Yes.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Thanks. I'll click right, oh, so tonight then, okay.
Darren said no.
Trustee Haug,
Oh, who seconded my motion?
I believe
I
it
did.
Connie, or trustee Bill, sorry.
was, so is
Culprit.
that a 5-1 vote, if I counted that correctly?
I heard Darren say no. Who else
That's why I
said
said
no?
5-1.
Yeah.
Oh, those, yeah.
Okay. And just to note, again, thank you, Trustee Haug. We've not had a lot of discussions as a board about where to go next with that, and part of that was out of respect for Trustee Haug. Didn't want him to feel like we're pushing him out. But we need
I'd
to
have left
begin that
November
process. Yes, Clerk Cody?
I have a comment, real quick, before we get to the next thing.
Well, I wasn't moving on yet,
Oh.
so can I finish and then you can have your comment? Is that okay? We have received 2 applications that I'm aware of for the trustee position. But at this point, this board hasn't taken any action to even say we are using that as a process or we're accepting applications. So at this point, they're just kind of sitting with nothing right now, right? Because we as a board intentionally decided that we didn't want to take action until we get far enough along. So I just wanted to point that out, that we do have those receipts. Clerk Cody?
My comment I actually want in the minutes too, if we can do that. For the open trustees position, please submit apps by January 16th, close of business day.
Is that a
That way-
motion? 'Cause
yeah.
what I-
Oh, make motion.
May I stop you?
Yeah. Motion.
So what I was going to suggest is,
Motion.
what Clerk Cody is trying to motion now is that we open up an application process. That doesn't lock us into any one avenue of process at all, right? But at least we've advertising, hey, we have an open seat on this board that we need to fill. So I'm not suggesting that anything about process other than, let's make that advertisement known to the public, so that those that have interest, we have an ability to receive their interest. Is that reasonable? So I think, yes.
So we don't, so let me get this straight. If we're asking for applications, what you're saying is we're just asking for application. The process is, we don't know if we're gonna use them or not.
So-
We can or we
I mean,
don't have to.
we don't
use
want to
them.
just vote on somebody that we don't know
No,
if
I
is
understand,
interested or
but I
not.
think what I'm
Right.
gathering from, what you're saying is the process part, as far as the process.
We need to determine.
We need to determine the process. We may not even use the applications, if that's not in our process.
But I-
if we
It's
don't-
more
yeah.
knowing who's interested.
Gotcha.
Is
Okay.
why we need the
Yeah,
applications,
yeah.
you
Okay.
know.
Yep.
And so I was
why
gonna
you're
suggest
interested.
that we make sure we leave all our options open, because we haven't talked about it. I felt because of timing now.
Absolutely.
We essentially have this window in which we need to fill the seat per statute,
Yeah.
that we
We have to fill.
keep
it
our
in.
options open, and then our January 11th meeting, that we make this a priority, that we discuss what process we as a board want to undertake to fill Trustee Haug's seat. Is
Because
that reasonable?
it's a board appointment, right?
It's a board
Yeah.
appointment.
Appointment,
Yes.
so,
And we have Can we talk about timeline right now? We have how many days then, if it's?
45
It's 45
45
days.
days from December 31st. then?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So we have, if I'm doing the math right in my head, we would have up to three currently scheduled meetings on the schedule we just approved. Obviously, if we need special meetings, we certainly can do that. I'm not trying to set a bias currently on what we may choose to do, right? I just want to make sure we have our options open and that we begin to take action at the beginning of the new year.
So if we give them to the 16th, it gives us, February 14th is the deadline that we have to,
Valentine's Day.
yes.
So that's 2 meetings.
So that's,
Three.
January
January
11th,
16th.
January
So we're-
25th, and then February.
8.
so we can talk about the
Thank you.
process, they can still
Okay.
hear about it again during that meeting, and then we can do action on the next one, which gives us what, 2 meetings before we get somebody. I just want to give everybody a
We
chance
have
to
to have
turn
somebody
in something.
seated, or we have to have our process determined by?
We have to
We
make
have
an
to appoint
appointment.
by then,
Appointment by the 14th.
which is why I was suggesting that we at least open up the application process since we've not formally done that.
I agree.
That's why I wanted to make a motion and give them a deadline to turn it in, so we can review them, see who's interested, and go over who we choose. Right.
The last time this happened, trustee Mikas resigned on August 28th, 2019, and we appointed Brian Milkey on September 25th, 2019, so less than a month later.
Yeah,
So.
Within
you
the
get
40,
someone on
within the
that.
45 days.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it'd be, what, 2 weeks after your resignation would be due to start the process, right?
And our holiday schedule, because of our current meeting schedules, we don't have anything
Yeah.
really till the 11th, so.
We just gotta give them a deadline, so somebody just doesn't turn in something like, boom, right when we're doing everything.
So were you making a suggestion? Because
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
okay.
make a motion
I
to.
wanted to have a little discussion on generality before you did a motion. I'm okay with any motion you want to do.
Do you want me to say a motion again?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear it the first
Um,
time, really. Sorry.
A motion to open, what did I write? For the open trustee position, to submit applications by January 16th, close of business day.
Support.
So we have a motion by Cody, support by Brown. Could you just articulate for me your choice on January 16th again? Why you chose that date?
It was right
I'm
before
okay
our
with that.
meeting.
I just want to understand.
I had a purpose, but I don't remember.
It's a month, so.
It gives everybody time to turn it in after the holidays, and then it's like right before our first meeting, I believe,
No.
or after?
Right after.
Well,
Right
it gives
after.
them till so it can be put in the packet for the next meeting.
next meeting.
Gives
Okay.
them time to get everything
good with
in the
that.
packet.
I just wanted to understand. Thank you.
So the Monday prior to the meeting, it can all be put into the packet, because we get our packets on Thursday for that following one. I'm giving enough time.
So we'll have them on January 25th.
Yeah,
Or that Thursday, Friday before.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't take long to read through.
but in our first
That'll be
meeting, we
time.
can kind of figure it out if we need to, how we're gonna do it or whatever. And then see.
Before we vote, I'm going to ask you a question, if that's okay. From a staff perspective, making sure that this gets advertised properly, are you hearing from us a proper directive that you can act on that will be effective?
I did have a couple clarifying
Great.
questions. One, do you want to use the existing form we have for appointments to boards and commissions? One, because you're talking about applications. That's the form
Yes,
you
Yep.
want?
yeah.
Okay. And then, do you want the clerk or the administration to receive those? You want them sent to the attention of the clerk, the administration, any of those details? Question for the board. Who's to receive them?
I mean, one
I'm
was
happy to up
directed
front,
to
but
me, the other one was
you
just-
may want them to the attention of the city clerk.
You made the motion, so I'm looking at you.
They can turn them in at the front office.
Yeah.
That way it goes, you
It's
know,
just gonna
the
get in
board
the-
And I'm
packet
sorry, who-
anyway.
Brown, you gave the motion support? Okay, thank you.
Those were my questions.
Okay.
Had to do with process.
Any objections to the responses of those questions?
No.
Okay,
It
so,
was a simple process last time. You
Yeah.
It's
just,
pretty simple, yeah.
You know, I mean,
all right, other questions, comments? Anybody not understand the motion? Motion to begin and publish that application process.
I mean, I believe we did give them a deadline the last time too.
The deadline makes sense. I just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure
because
I understood
We
January
wouldn't know if
16th.
somebody's interested without it.
Right. No, it makes sense. Unless there's objection, we'll take a vote. Anybody need clarification on the motion?
Nope, good.
All in
We're gonna
favor of the
have- wait.
motion? Sorry.
We're having trustee Halkett's
I'm
abstain
abstaining.
just to
Oh, yes.
Right.
be saying
Um,
thanks.
all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Sorry for throwing a motion out. there.
That's okay.
I just thought it was a good spot.
We just purposely hadn't talked a lot about that as a board, and I wanted to begin that dialogue and so that we can put ourselves in a position to be successful next year. Just a note, related to this agenda item, I realize we just completed it.
Thanks for coming.
Trustee Hauk is our liaison to the road commission. Now he'll be at the road commission in a different capacity. So we need to be thinking about who will take that role.
you gotta have somebody that can be there at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, so we need to look at schedules, so everybody look at what the requirements are.
How long do they last?
Last one, I got out of there at 10:15. It started at 8:30 in the morning. It was a long one, but
What?
So, and I'm not suggesting that we answer that tonight. I just want to plant the seeds so that we begin to think as individuals about, is that something that can work in your life or not, right? Because we do have that obligation as a board to fill that liaison role.
Yeah.
If not possibly the
Thursdays.
new trustee. maybe
That's
an
a
option as
possibility,
well.
yes, maybe an option as well, absolutely.
I mean, as of right now, I got Thursdays off, so it worked for me, but we can always wait until after the new trustee comes in.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have someone there for January meetings until we
Oh, I
make
can go to that,
fill,
or-
so.
It's the
Do you want me
12th.
to do it now, and then
Temporary.
you can just change it if needed?
It's 8:30 on the 12th.
If you're okay with that, I'm okay with that.
On the
Yes.
Oh, I
12th.
think that's great, thank you.
Thank
That would
you.
Do
be
I need to
awesome.
make a motion to have Clerk Cody
Yeah,
go
sure.
to the 12th, the meeting on Thursday, the 12th for the road commission?
Or just
As
make me
liaison?
the liaison
Liaison.
right
Or,
now?
okay,
Just-
liaison for the road commission?
Support.
More discussion? All in favor of the motion to appoint Clerk Cody as our liaison for the road commission, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Yes, Trustee Brown, did you have something?
Thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Sorry, I was laughing because of your face.
Sorry.
The face expression you made, it was great.
With that, that brings us to item 11D on our agenda, Policy Governance 2.4, Financial Planning and Budgeting. Mr. Stuhldreher, this is kind of in your wheelhouse on this one, so I'll allow you to introduce this, or ask that you introduce this, is a better way to put it.
Thank you. December is the month that you review compliance with policy 2.4 titled Financial Planning and Budgeting. You'll find this paperwork on page 68 of your agenda packet. The high-level policy reads, financial planning for any fiscal year or the remaining part of any fiscal year shall not deviate materially from the board's ends priorities, risk financial jeopardy, or fail to be derived from a multi-year plan.
There are 4 sub-policies within that. Those are all in your packet, so I won't read them. My interpretation of that is that the Board of Trustees seeks to ensure financial stability, requiring the township manager to not fail to use reasonable revenue and expenditure projections when developing the budget, that it be monitored on an ongoing basis, amended when new information is provided, that we not budget expenditures in excess of revenue unless we know and acknowledge and have sufficient fund balance to make up that difference, that we also, when we're developing an annual budget, which is by definition just for 1 year, that we're also cognizant of what that means in the out years. We should be looking at some long-term projections as we're developing the budget. That's my interpretation of this policy. I think that's reasonable. It's common that you want to budget on the conservative side, and that if you're not looking at least partially down the road, then a lot of one-year singular activities can add up to some issue that you didn't anticipate because you weren't looking down the road. Also, within that policy, there is a statement about budgeting funds for the Board of Trustees prerogatives, which are your ends. And so, as you've seen in this budget, we align how we're spending money with the ends that you have articulated in your ends policies piece. And that it does, it's money well spent to budget money for training and education of the individual board members, whether it's in the capacity of a trustee or in the capacity of a clerk, a treasurer, or supervisor. And you will find all those in the budget too. So that's my justification, that the data, the current 2022 fiscal year budget and the proposed 2023 budgets were developed and approved just tonight. We monitor these budgets quarterly. We have quarterly reporting to the Board of Trustees as part of the monitoring as well. On the administrative side, I hold quarterly budget review meetings. The FY22 budget was amended more than twice, so we're demonstrating that as new information is provided, we're incorporating that into the budget. Our most recent fiscal year-end audit, which was for FY21, was a good, clean audit. There were no management comments that we needed to address. If there were, we would address them. It's just another data point. The last several years, we've included long-term projections for several of the funds in the recommended budget. They're in the tab under the other information section. So with all that being said, I would submit that the administration is in compliance with policy 2.4.
Any questions or comments before we review this? So obviously, this is a December item. Was it received on time?
Yes.
Yes.
And probably the most important thing to look at is that interpretation by the manager. I'm
Yes.
assuming you read through that and makes sense from our perspective.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel there was interpretation is justified, or there's information provided, in this case, the second page, on why the explanation or the interpretation, I should say, was reasonable?
Yes.
Yes.
Did the interpretation miss anything, or did it cover the entire policy, essentially those 4 subsections?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll wait on question number 6 for a moment. So the other thing we need to always look at too is, are there other limits that we wish or desire to put in our policy governance with regards to this on any part of the policy, right? That means when we're looking at the section 2 of our policy governance, it's all about limits that we as a board impose on the administration.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to ask the question, are there limits that are missing?
I don't feel so.
Okay. So do you feel that we're in compliance?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Very good. Thanks for all your good work.
Thank you.
That brings us to item 11E on the agenda, Policy Governance 3.0. This is our wheelhouse. Global Governance Commitment. Board Policy 3.0, I'll just read the policy because it's brief. It says, the purpose of the board on behalf of the residents of Charter Township of Union is to see to it that Union Township achieves appropriate results for appropriate persons at an appropriate cost and avoids unacceptable actions and situations. So let me ask the questions. This is, again, a December review, and it's December, so any objections to the timeline?
No.
Do you bear with me? Thank you.
Page 72.
I print these on 2 sides so that I save paper, and sometimes it gets a little jumbled. Do you believe we're in strict compliance?
Yes.
Anybody object to that?
No.
I'm skipping 2 then. Do you see any improvements that we could put in our processes to support this policy?
Not at this time. No.
Yeah, the one that's, not that I have a suggestion here, but as I read through this and was thinking about it, the part that really speaks to me is that we avoid unacceptable actions and situations. And I think things have been running pretty smooth, both in the organization and with the board, and I'm pretty happy with how this governance is happening with us.
Mm-hmm.
So no other suggestions? And we're in compliance, that's what I'm
Yes.
hearing.
Yes.
All right, that closes that out unless there's an objection. That brings us to item 12 on the agenda. Item 12 is extended public comment. Extended public comment is restricted to 5 minutes regarding any issue. Ms. Green, do we have anybody? If you choose to address the public, please state your name and address for the record, and with that, we'll open up extended public comment at 8:48 p.m.
Hello again.
Hello again.
Ben Gunning, 2270 East Broomfield. Very good meeting. Very good meeting. Thank you. I have a question, I guess, and I know this isn't question and answer, but it kind of threw me a little bit with the trustee appointment to the ZBA. I guess I saw that it's allowable, but I guess my question is it a good idea? And would there be, because of the decisions being made at the ZBA level, would there be the potential for a conflict? And I wasn't sure if that was discussed in length or not. But again, you don't have to answer me, but final board comment, if you want to throw out an answer, then great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Frank Engler, 1798 West River Road. I'll try not to be too annoying on this when I sit through the meetings. I always have a few little things I want to throw in real quick. Basically, Clerk Lux goes through my committee, so the information you received on proposal 2 is pretty accurate. We basically know very little or nothing. I've had several emails also from some of the same comments as some of the poll workers, if they're gonna put in the extra time, they want extra money, and I've had some of my outer previous, I guess I am still their commissioner yet, the clerks that are talking about not running or maybe even resigning because of the extra time. So, so that real quick. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is you guys were talking about replacing your trustee Hout there, which I'm sure is going to be a very tough job. I've known, well, he went to Beale City, so I've known him for quite a while. So, but you brought up the 45-day thing, and I believe that if it doesn't happen in 45 days, I think the county commissioners have to do it. And I tell you the truth, I really don't want to do that job. So, but you have such an opportunity to try to fill these positions is awful hard to get different jobs, but the advantage that you're having is that you can choose somebody on there that does not have to run through an election. So to fill a hole in there, I said you might be able to talk somebody in there that they would really fill in a good spot for your board. So I know a lot of people I try to get to do different stuff where it doesn't have time, but you can say, yeah, you don't have to run for election. So
Yeah.
so I hope that not only the applications, but you'll also go out there and push and try to find some people in. So with that, that's it in my comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See no one else coming forward, we'll close extended public comment at 8:51 p.m. That takes us to item 13 on our agenda, the manager's comments. Mr. Stuhldreher, you have the floor.
Thank you. Just a couple items. We had our annual holiday party last Friday, the employee party. That was a very nice event. The theme this year was Hawaiian, so many of the folks were in Hawaiian shirts and straw skirts, even some of the guys. So it was a lot of fun, a good time. We had it at a venue in Union Township. The accommodations and the food was great. Positive feedback. We have another little potluck scheduled. You all should have gotten an invitation December 22nd, potluck here at Township Hall. That went out to all of you and all of the employees. As a reminder, I'll be out the last week in December and the first week in January, and I'll send you out another reminder of that next week. And then lastly, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday Season, Safe New Year, in case I don't see you again before the new year. Thank you, that's all I have.
Wonderful, thank you. That brings us to final board member comment. Yes, sorry.
I just wanted to say, correct one thing before
Sure.
we move on. That the application deadline for the first round is December 19th for that park.
Thank you. That's the one you were referring to earlier,
That's for the
Yeah.
$25 million in funding for outdoor recreation facilities.
thank you. Brings us to final board member comment. Trustee Brown.
Yeah.
I know I started with you earlier, but I
That's
figure
okay. That's okay.
give
I'll get it
Trustee
over
Hauk
with
here
quick.
the-
Yeah, great meeting. I guess the only thing I want to touch base on was Kurt Cody. It's time as far as evaluating and giving her a raise. So I just wanted to lift that up one more time. She has done an outstanding job for Union Township, and we need to award her for that, I believe. That's all I have to say.
Trustee Bills.
I wish everybody a happy holiday season and a prosperous new year in every way. I think that Clerk Cody definitely needs an adjustment. I don't know what it is, and that's why, again, I've asked for some specifics on the job. I have no idea what the hours are or what actually goes on in an election. If anybody could jot that down, That would be really good for our discussion for me. I really hope we can manage to apply for $200,000 in free funding from the DNR. They even have a video on how to do it. Like I said, I'd be happy to help. I'm available all weekend. We're remiss not to do that. But other than that, that's all I've got.
Thank you. Trustee Thering?
Yes, I would like to thank Clerk Cody for all that she does. I look forward to the discussion. I think it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad we're going to do this. Trustee Hauk, thank you for all that you've done in conversations. Definitely enlightening at times, and good luck.
Thank you.
Treasurer Rice?
I just wanted to say, you know, we've got some tough shoes to fill.
Thank you.
You know, Trustee Hauk I've worked with him now for 6 years, and he's been a big asset.
Thank you.
And so I know you'll do well, but good luck anyway.
All right, thank you.
You'll have some more free time now, right?
My
Maybe.
wife's looking forward to me being home more. She's
So.
probably not watching right now. If she was, she threw something at the TV.
But we're gonna miss you.
Thank you.
So
Real quick, ZBA, the law does kind of, I don't know that it requires, but encourages putting a planning commissioner on, which has similar situations where you could end up in a position where you might be asked to participate in a ruling that is similar or very close to what you've had on a previous board. What I heard in the motion tonight for that appointment was that it's an second alternate, and which very often doesn't serve, but you do have a Dave Coyne was first.
No,
Dave Coyne was first.
first.
So,
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
so in any event, not that there was a lot of discussion on that, but we have been talking over the last few meetings that was a possibility that we might appoint one of the trustees, and your point is well taken. And obviously, where there's that area for potential conflict, recusal will have to happen if that second alternate was put in that spot. So it's a reasonable question, I think. And I know I don't have to answer it, but I thought it was a good question. I asked a couple trustees if they received these cards this week, because I didn't know if they went to all the board members, but I got a half dozen cards in my mailbox. And I'm not going to read them all, but I thought you should at least hear them. I was kind of shocked. I'm like, oh, these Christmas cards, what are they? And then I see that they're all personally written cards, and I'm just kind of picking one at random because they all kind of say the same thing. But I think the message that these were trying to portray to me isn't just to me; it's to the board, which is why I want to share it. So I'll pick one, and if you want to look at them all, you feel free. I'm happy to share. It says, Dear Mr. Milkey, this season I am thankful for people like you who can make decisions that will impact future generations. I want you to know that I support you in making decisions which promote the future of clean energy. I hope to see more windmills, more solar panels, bans on single-use plastics, and a culture that puts our environment first over economic gains and conveniences. Thanks for caring. And so they're all similar. If you want to read them, despite the fact that they're addressed to me, I really think it's to all of us. And then lastly, I often put myself last in this round robin of final comment, right? But I want to give Trustee the last word tonight, Trustee Hauk. But I also want to say that...
I didn't do mine.
I was, huh?
He's going like this.
Yeah, I'm going like this. I'm going to miss your humor. It's very appreciated. And
More to come.
And I think you bring some different life experiences to this board that brought a lot of good ideas that the other 6 of us didn't come up with ourselves. And I'm not saying that the other 6 don't have good ideas too, but I think what you brought to the table was valuable, and I really appreciate it. And you deserve absolute kudos from us and the community. And I wish you well on your new board.
Thank you.
Clerk Cody.
I want to thank Mark for actually funding the Christmas party for all the staff members and all the people that took the time and put everything together. I thought it was great that he actually does that. I mean, it's
Support.
amazing.
Absolutely.
I mean, how many people
Yeah.
would do that for all the staff in the township? So, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you for serving on a board, what, 6 years with me? Oh,
All right, thank you.
sad.
Is that it? Okay. I,
Trustee
Go
Allen?
ahead.
Yeah, all
first
yours.
of all, you know, I hope everybody noticed that the light bulbs got changed in here.
Yeah.
I said to Corey Black at deer camp that we could see an ant running across the floor. So, anyways, and then I know Kim got him back in here. I hope you guys get an ARPA fund list so you can figure out what's going on with that and make good judgment calls on that. One thing I did when all 6 years I was on here is if there was a major decision to be made, I talked to citizens. I've stopped by neighbors' houses. I called friends that live in the township and got their opinions. I think we need to do more of that. I want to thank all the citizens, staff, and board members for all their support that they've given me. Wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I've talked to quite a few of you about who I'd like to see replace me. I think he's the most qualified person I've seen ever apply for this position. He's more qualified than I am. So I'll have more to say on that later when you guys, I'll do it as a public citizen. And last but not least, can I have my nameplate so I can have a grave marker?
Well, I don't think anybody else is going to use it.
I don't know any other Bill House,
can have
so yeah. Go ahead.
I think his wife was the only one that wanted that, right? I think she's the one that wants that.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
With that, be happy to entertain motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion by Brown, support by Rice. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
Thank you.